Okay, fuckers and fuckheads. This is a points cover off that old 305 Bentley that's in here. It's the one that's got the mislabeled tank, and I have to thank that guy out of Tennessee. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to mention his name, so I won't. But I have to thank him for pointing me to that chart on the serial numbers to find out what it was. It did turn out to be a Bentley. But anyway, this is a sandpaper. It's called between coated. Almost looks like an emery cloth, but it's actually 2 grades of grit instead of 1. I don't know how the fuck they do that. To me, if it's got 280 grains of sand to an inch, that's what it is. But this is like 320. When you get these covers that are really fucked up like this, because you see somewhere along the line all that paint that was on there flaked off, and this is not a primer. It's just a subcoating of some kind that they used under the primer, and you're going to be polishing it in a while anyway. But before you put it in your polisher, go on ahead and we'll sand on this for a minute. And I'm just demonstrating here, and I suppose since this is going to take a minute, this is a good time to complain some more about our U.S. government. Even though I said I wouldn't be political anymore, it's kind of amusing to me that I've had so goddamn many emails in my regular email box. My opinions are mine. They ain't gonna change. You know, to me, America means that I can hop on one of these motorcycles and not have to worry about a fucking roadblock in the goddamn road with Homeland Insecurity or TSA. It don't mean that I'm willing to accept that communist bullshit, because I grew up believing that to be part of what a communist country would do, not America. You know, there's your budget cuts right there. Get rid of them motherfuckers. As you can see, that's coming out. It's starting to come out. I'm getting a little shine to it, not much. But, and other things, you know, they're all up there arguing about the budget, and none of them want to cut their programs. And if anything, I'm Constitutional Party, because I'd like to see it brought back. But the Republicans are the closest thing that we've got that's trying to save the Constitution. And I really would like to see a balanced budget amendment, but at the same time, I'd like them to leave the Constitution the fuck alone. You know, they're up there arguing about the budget. Well, you know, let me tell you what a real American sees about the budget. I've got credit cards, yeah, but I don't use them unless I've got the fucking money in the bank. Period. You know, a lot of people disagree with that. Oh, that's the point of a credit card. You're borrowing without having to... Well, the government's doing that shit right now. There's you a perfect example. They was counting on money to come in that wasn't coming in. That, or maybe they're stupid and just figure that all of us Americans are willing to accept a tax increase to pay for their bullshit so the government can get bigger. I don't fucking know. I don't give a goddamn what's going through their heads. What I do give a damn about is, you know, I walked into a school a few months ago. I used to volunteer to do a little bit of shit at the schools, you know, because I'm retired, I'm bored. I used to do the Computers for Kids project right here out of the house, and half of South Venice will tell you about that. I mean, that shit was coming out of my pocket, and a couple of hospitals were donating machines, but mostly it was coming out of my pocket. I was buying shit by the semi-load off of eBay. But the rule was, if they built it, they showed me it worked, they owned it. And I'd show them how to build it as many times as they fucking needed to be shown. I was a little bit more patient back then than I am now, because now I'm in pain most of the time, and I tend to get crabby quite a bit. It ain't because I'm pissed at people, it's just because I'm barely functional, and I have to keep myself damn near completely pissed off just to remain functional. You've got all these wonderful fucking politicians up there in Washington, and I was reading one of the Republican Party members' websites last night, you know, because I get emails from some of these guys. They know who they are. And I get emails from all of the nutcase senators, you know, where you've asked them a question and you never get the answer to the email that you sent, but they seem to put you on their fucking propaganda mailing list or whatever it is. And yeah, there's some Republicans that are trying to shut this country down with all this fucking roadblock shit and stuff like that. But let's go beyond that a little bit. I mean, right now they're conditioning our kids to get them used to fucking being in prison. Because these schools I used to volunteer at, the reason I quit volunteering is you've got all these motherfuckers going in there saying, oh fuck, some kid got shot up in Colorado, so we gotta have security at all our schools nation fucking wide. And the result has been, oh yeah, word from our sponsors, nice power drinks. That shit's good. Now, they ain't really my sponsor, but I felt like doing that shit because I thought it'd be funny. But I went into one of these schools. There was more security to walk into a school and do a good thing showing a few kids how to build a computer than there was when I used to go visit my brother in prison. And I'm not kidding. I could get in to see my brother in prison easier, you know, then I could walk into one of our schools. You know, and what's that telling our kids? That's teaching them that that much government control is acceptable. So meantime, if the schools don't participate, the federal government cuts off their funds. And you know what? I think that would be a good thing for them schools to just say, hey, look, we can get by on state funding. We can forget all these fucking federal programs. Because the state collects enough goddamn sales tax and property tax and shit like that that we don't really need the federal government fucking stepping into our schools like that. And I think it's just wrong to raise kids in what I consider to be a prison environment. And if you look closely at that security, I ain't no security expert, but it don't take one. Most of that security is not designed to keep people out. It's designed to keep them fucking kids in. So literally that makes it more like a prison. And I have wandered around the internet and looked at some of the designers of some of these security systems for schools. And quite a few of them, if you pay attention and look at what else they've designed, quite a few of them did design prisons. I'm not saying all of them, I'm not saying anywhere near all of them, but enough of them to where it raises an alarm in the back of your head going, well hell, why do we got prison designers designing security systems for schools? Well, first off, why do we have all that security on our schools anyway? You know, granted, some kid got shot in Colorado years ago, and some little 9-year-old girl a couple years ago had, what, fucking aspirin in her goddamn purse? All that security ain't fucking necessary. Yeah, kids carrying pocket knives to school, that same fucking ratio as when we was all kids. When we was all kids, hell, we carried a pocket knife with us, and we wasn't hurting nobody with it. You know, maybe you might have had one fucking kid out of 10 gazillion that actually pulled a knife on somebody, and you probably had less than 1 out of 1,000 of those kids that had the balls to use it. You know, but we're in a lawsuit happy country. The Democrats have been in control too long. You know, and they're blocking shit in Congress right now. Obama wants to block any fucking chance of saving the country on this budget bill or whatever. Who gives a shit? But to me, that ain't America. You know, our kids can't go to school and be fucking normal like we were. That shit sucks dog shit to me. Count me as the first in line to outright fucking say it. You know, TSA searching us in the goddamn bus stations. That shit ain't even right. You know, this America, we're supposed to have the right to travel freely and unmolested. You know, we're not supposed to have to worry about Homeland Insecurity, TSA, or even the police putting up fucking roadblocks on the goddamn roads. Oh, and these DUI checkpoints, well, I don't drink, so it don't bother me, but I still don't think that shit's right, because, you know what? That's our tax dollars at waste, period. That's, you know, that's just stupid. We have the right to travel freely and unmolested, but people have accepted it and allowed it to happen. So here we are, you know, modern day fucking United States. And they're gonna put up DUI checkpoints, and they're running your place. They're hoping to catch a couple of felons. I understand that. That's what all these traffic cameras are really about. They're tracking felons with that shit. I know it because I've worked with some of these bastards. You know, here in Florida, they've got traffic cams all the way across Alligator Alley now. They're trying to track drug dealers, and they're trying to track fucking whatever the hell else they're trying to track, felons or whatever. Which they ain't stopping nobody, so, I mean, that's pretty good. I kind of disagree with that case up in Virginia where the government used OnStar. It was Virginia State Patrol, I believe. They got OnStar to shut down some felon's car. Well, it turned out that that felon had sold that car several months earlier, and the person that they took to jail lost their job over that shit. And it had been registered re-registered a couple weeks before they even did it to the poor fucker. I think that kind of sucks. I think that it sucks that they could shut somebody's car down like that. Period. Well, they got EMPs and shit. Of course, there's people like me that know to run old-fashioned points or run a diesel, and they ain't gonna shut that shit down. And I know how to rig a CDI box to where the shit can't be shut down, but hold up a minute. I gotta go find my cigarettes. I don't know what the hell I did with them. There they are. Found them damn things. Make sure, I know I bumped that damn thing. You know, to me, they had that Brady bill in the 80s that took the right for felons to keep and bear arms away from them. And yet that's one of our inalienable rights, is to keep and bear arms. I mean, they can have my guns after they fucking killed me. I'm not a felon, I don't intend to become one, but that's when they can have my guns, because as far as I'm concerned, when I was growing up, and before I was growing up, the fact that damn near everybody had a gun on them, and the criminals were afraid to do anything because they didn't know who had a gun on them, well, that's what kept America safe. And people owning guns, the fact that damn near every household had guns before that, that's what's kept our shores from getting invaded. All these Mexicans are coming across the border right now and getting away with it, and robbing people's houses and all that shit. Fucking, you know, there wouldn't be no fucking house jackings like there is, but nowadays the criminal knows, fuck, ain't hardly nobody got no goddamn guns. They might as well just go in, and the criminals do got the guns. Well, let's put them back in the hands of everybody. All the American people, including the felons. And my reason for saying including the felons is I've seen so damn many times where police have gone into an ex-felon's house without a warrant, which to me is felony breaking and entering, But, you know, you ain't gonna get a police thrown in jail for that. But if they didn't know if that fucker had guns or not, they'd be a lot less likely to fucking do that. Because they'd have to bring out a SWAT team and all that shit, you know, to unlawfully enter somebody's house. And they're not prone to do that because that attracts too much attention. And in this day and age, hey, with all these cell phone cameras, somebody's going to get that shit up on YouTube. And there's plenty of that happening. There's plenty of unlawful entries being documented and uploaded to YouTube. Sad part to me is none of them fucking officers are going to jail. They need to be going to prison. Plain and simple. You know, they want to outlaw pit bulls. Well, hey, pit bulls, or any other dog for that matter, they're only as evil as their owners raise them to be, because dogs are loyal. And they don't turn on their owners unless their owner's a complete fucking asshole and beats on them or some shit. You know, so all that crap's out the window. But they'll pass legislation to kill a whole breed of dogs, but they let these fucking pedophiles, these kitty perverts, walk the goddamn streets. Hey, kill the kitty perverts, leave the dogs alone. The kitty perverts hurt a lot more people than them fucking pit bulls. But granted, I do not own a dog. I own squirrels, but I don't really own them. They just live in my house by their choice, and they know the way out, but they're not taking it. And just like the raccoon that goes in and out. You know, I feed her and all that because she's just a friendly critter. I raised her from a baby because her mama got run over. And the other raccoon that comes out is one of her babies. And there's a couple more that come up to the house that she steals babies from other raccoons, which I don't mind. She's brought home rabbits. She's brought home, she brought home a baby goddamn egret one time. And I don't know how she thought she was going to get that thing to nurse. And she wasn't even lactating at the time, but that's just the way she is. She's got them, what you call overly developed maternal instincts. And yes, the ones that come in and out of my house and the ones that come up in my yard, I make sure that they've got their rabies shots and everything. I give them to them myself. Because I was a farm kid, I do know how to do that shit. I ain't no veterinarian, I ain't about to become one. But if they're going to be coming in and out of my house, I am going to give them their shots. And some of the other animals, when I feed them outside, I'll mix some dewormer in with some of the foods that I give them. Because I like them, I like having them around. They're a better gauge of people than I am. If they're worried about somebody, then I generally know that I've got reason to worry, or at least be on the alert. I'm not really prone to worrying about people. I'm on my way out anyway. Somebody could shoot me today. What the fuck would it matter? It wouldn't. But when you do this, make sure you get these little corners good. Just kind of rub it around that edge. Otherwise, that shit gets all up in your wheel and it makes it harder to get it clean later. Now, I gotta polish it anyway, so yeah, these scratches are acceptable. Okay, let's get this shit on. Now this is Ryobi silica-free tripoli buffing compound. And I've tried a million other kinds, and all I can say about them other kinds is I've tried a million other kinds. This shit here, it actually works. I'm pretty sure that the Democrats and all these EPA nuts are going to find something in it find some reason to ban it because it does work and it does help you preserve your shit. Or restore your shit in this case. But that's another thing too. I can understand the EPA, we need them. But I mean, hell, you got states like California with the California Air Resources Board and all that shit. And the auto manufacturers are selling interstate, so yeah, federal government does have jurisdiction over interstate commerce. But if you build a vehicle here in Florida, I don't see why it's got to pass any EPA shit before you can get a tag on it. As long as you don't sell it outside of Florida or let it leave Florida, fuck them. That's cleaning up real nice. I'm just going to do a small spot here. I know I'm running out of time on this video, but yeah, it's another thing with all these federal programs. I'm not going to get down on the welfare cases or anything today. Although I do think most of them need to get a fucking job, because if my crippled up old ass can be out here working on shit, they can too. And that hits on another thing. You know, counties like here in South Florida, or in Venice, Florida, or Sarasota County, you ain't supposed to run a business out of your house. Well, you know what? That's what made America to begin with, is people were running businesses out of their houses. You know, and some of them got really good, and they built up and they made some of the factories that we have today. And most of the time, if you pay attention to all these county commissioners and shit that are passing this legislation or passing these ordinances against people running businesses out of their house, look close. Somebody done opened a business out of their house that is messing with them. By the way, when you put this shit on a rag, because it's going to start burning your hand, it does get hot. Make sure that you take one hand and keep that rag back so it doesn't get caught in that wheel. If you're too stupid to do that, please, God, don't pick up a piece and put it in a buffer. But them home-based businesses, them homegrown businesses, and guys starting shops on their farms, and guys starting garages, you know, right out of their own garage at their house. You know what? That's what used to make America. I mean, it was well into the 90s before Bloomington, Minnesota outlawed all them home-based businesses, and that was because one of their fucking city whatever planners and a couple of county commissioners up there happened to be in the real estate market, and they were worried about their fucking property values. Well, you know what? The economy in Bloomington, Minnesota immediately went down within a couple of years after that. And especially in economic times like this, you know, the government whining about they ain't getting their fucking tax dollars. Well, you know, if somebody's out of a job and they want to start a business out of their house, let them. If they're making money and they ain't out there committing crimes, that's a good thing. Go on ahead and let them do that shit. You know, that's money that they can spend. That's sales tax dollars. That's gas tax dollars, cigarette tax dollars. All that shit that they could be getting. You know, and then the government whines that they're short on money. Hell, they're cutting their own throats a lot of the time. You know, and all these programs, you know, they got some, you can get a research grant to study damn near anything. The company I used to work for did that more than once, which, you know, they were doing practical shit, or at least I think it was practical, someone else might not. But, all them research grants, hey, somebody wants to study something, make them pay for it, or make some company pay for it. Don't fucking make the government pay for it. We don't need to be spending $10 and $20 million on shit. That, you know, we don't need to know that some endangered mouse is on a construction site at a cost of a couple $100,000 survey. We don't need that at all. I know one guy, 8 fucking times he's gotten grants. He's living right here in Venice up on the island in about a $3.5 million house. He's never had a job. But 8 times he's gotten grants and put himself listed on the staff. And that's what paid his bills, that's what paid his retirement, that's what put his money in the bank. I don't think that shit's right. I like the guy and all that, but I don't think how he got his money is quite right. And the government's talking about they don't want to cut these programs. That's what the real deal is. The Democrats don't want all their programs cut out. And basically the Democratic Party is the free ride, let's give everybody welfare, free fucking health care and all that shit. No, you know what? Fuck you. Part of being an American is working for what the fuck you get. You guys want to cut out stuff, let's cut out the congressman's paychecks. Let's cut them down to something normal. You'll make cuts, cut them. Cut your checks too. You'll talk about shutting down Social Security, shutting down VA benefits and all that shit. I'm sorry, if you spent that money on other things, pay the people who have served you and put in money first. Cut out the welfare, because them fuckers probably ain't put in shit no way. Give them their tax dollars back, send them on their way, and eventually they'll get the idea that they need to fucking work for a living. I mean, I can see it if somebody really honestly can't work, but most of the people that I know that are on welfare or Social Security disability, that SSI shit, they can work, they're choosing not to, and they'll sit there and trade tips on how to stay on that shit. That's reality. And I don't care what these fuckers in Washington tell you about it's a necessary thing, it ain't. I don't know, I'm ranting and raving, but anyway, this fucker's getting polished up now. Oh hell, there's the goddamn phone. Anyway, as you can see, that shit's getting polished pretty good. And I'll get to holler at y'all fuckers and fuckheads. Alright, now, back on this. I'm still using my rag to grip. And you gotta keep this shit moving. Don't leave it sit in one place because you dig ruts in there. Especially on an old one like this Bentley here. This is 64. This was back when Honda was still sand casting shit. That makes it harder to polish, but on anything you polish, keep that shit moving so you get a nice even shine to it. You don't want no ruts in there, and believe it or not, you can in aluminum dig in some pretty good sized ruts with nothing but this felt wheel that I'm using here. And yeah, I know I need to bolt this grinder down to the table, but I got my milling machine comes in here sometimes. I got that scroll saw right there. It just depends on what I'm using. Eventually I'll put holes and speed pins in this workbench. Earlier I was talking about the government and all their waste, and then they talk about they can't balance the budget. I know I ain't saying shit right, and I don't give a fuck. Quit caring about all that shit a long time ago. And pretty much now, you know, if somebody calls 941-497-3580, that call better be about motorcycles or pussy, or I don't want to hear it. Because those are the only two important things in my life these days. But, you know, they got all these Tea Party activists, and I half-ass support them fuckers. I believe we need to take America back. I don't think that they're all the way on the right track, but they're closer than anybody else out there, I guess. Thankfully, we've got a bunch of them. They're mostly Republicans. And they want to put a balanced budget amendment in the Constitution. We need it, but God, I wish they'd quit messing with the Constitution. They've already fucked up the Bill of Rights. Any rights that we had, we don't seem to have anymore. I mean, right now you go down to Walmart, fucking want ID to buy gunpowder. But I was talking about all these home-based businesses and how that really hurts the economy that all these towns outlawed that shit. You know, if somebody's broke, the best way to keep them off of welfare is let them make a living the way they know how. If that man wants to turn wrenches on cars in his driveway and he's got it down to 2 or 3 cars, ain't hurting nobody, he's making an honest living, leave him the fuck alone. I mean, I've had the county get on me about my motorcycles, and I've owned most of them for more than 20 years, so they really ain't got nothing to say. I don't have to have a dealer's license to be selling them off because I have owned them so long. And the ones I win in races, well, you know, yeah, I can sell them fuckers off, and I usually don't even transfer the titles. But that's usually because I don't want it. It's just some shit I want. But, you see I'm keeping this shit moving. There's valid reason for that. And now every place where that stuff sits in there, leave it sit in there. Because when that stuff doesn't have a pit to sit in, you won't see it no more. I know a lot of guys, they'll take a rag and wipe this shit off at this point, and they'll think, oh, that's shiny and that looks good. Well, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, after it's been in the rain a couple of times, that'll look like shit. Polish it all the way out. And in fact, after I'm done using this shit, I'm going to put on another wheel that has never seen any of this shit. You put that right on the wheel. Don't put it on your part. Always make sure that your rag ain't getting close to your wheel. And even if you got these little flip-up guards and shit, go on ahead and make sure that you're wearing safety glasses anyway. And I wear safety glasses around here most of the time because I can. I mean, I don't like that shit flying in my eyes. I go over to that parts washer, something splashes up. That shit hurts the eyes. A little piece of felt comes off this wheel, that'll hurt your eyes. If I'm using the other side of this grinder with the stone in it, you don't want none of that in your eyes. You don't want no wire brush in your eyes. Use some safety glasses. And keep it moving, keep it nice and even. I can get a little bit on the sides right here. Keep a real light touch. Don't dig this shit in. Anyway, that's another thing too, them home-based businesses, that would keep a lot of people off of welfare, because there's a lot of people like me. I can barely move most days, but I can work on motorcycles, and I do work on my own. I work on some for friends. I don't charge them shit, but I do work on my own. And that tells me right there that some of these people I see on welfare jogging through the goddamn projects could be working on something. If they own their own house, let them fucking run a business. If they're renting, hey, leave it up to their landlord whether they can or not. Me personally, I'd rather see somebody making an honest living than on disability or on some fucking welfare. And that's what's created a lot of the fucking welfare is you can't make an honest living out your own goddamn house anymore, pretty much throughout the country. And they'll allow you a home office or something, but A lot of places you can't even pull a business license for that. I mean, a lot of these neighborhoods, neighborhood right across town here, you can't park your own fucking work van with your company's logo in your goddamn driveway. Hey, some of them people, that's the only vehicle they own. A lot of them people don't need to be paying insurance on a car in their fucking work van. You know, that's why money's not getting spent. Oh yeah, that's right. The Democrats want you to spend that money on insurance. Because the Democrats, if you pay attention to all them insurance laws and the legislation behind it, yeah, there's a couple of pieces of that legislation that got pushed through by Republicans. Very few by comparison. And maybe it's a good thing, maybe it ain't. I don't give a shit. I just know that I know a lot of people can't even afford it. You know, they're living fucking hand to mouth. And then they got to pay insurance and all that on 2 vehicles instead of 1 because they can't park their work van in their own goddamn neighborhood. Cut that shit out. Let's put the money somewhere else. As you see that insurance on them extra vehicles, and Democrats and them other politicians, which some of them were Republicans, I freely admit that. Very few by comparison, like I said. That shit don't make no sense, but you pay attention to those legislators who push that through. Don't look at their campaign contributions. Look at their fucking stock holdings. Look at their publicly disclosed tax records. Start looking at corporate records. That's an easy search to do, by the way. And see who holds shares of that company. And you'd be surprised how many damn politicians got all kinds of shares of insurance companies before they started pushing that legislation. Or some of them just after. Nobody pays attention to them details, though. I mean, I read something one time about the definition of a senator as a millionaire, or about to become one. Yeah, there's truth to that. Anyway, this is getting shiny. It'll take me another hour, maybe 2, to polish this out right. That gives you the basic idea, and I can cheat and watch that. But you see, then that takes it out of the pits, and I want to see them pits. I want to see where I need to polish. That's a lot prettier than that ugly thing that I pulled off a while ago. Alright, I'll let y'all fuckers and fuckettes later.